Hi, this is Mike Brown, owner of Death Wish Coffee Company. Welcome to Fueled by Deathcast.
I love Jeff, but sweet and high. Whoop, there's so much drama, coffee inside.
Death Wish Coffee presents Fueled by Deathcast, the world's strongest podcast. With your hosts, the incredible Jeff and the amazing D-Man.
Welcome, everybody, to episode number 15 of Fueled by Deathcast in your ear holes. As always, I am the incredible Jeff.
And I am the amazing D-Man.
And we are really excited for this episode. We got a really cool guest coming up. But first, I always have to thank the amazing Brock Powell, BrockVox.com. Go on over to Unpop Entertainment. They just released their first ever video teaser for their podcast, and it is absolutely hilarious.
Yeah.
And you might actually see a Death Wish Coffee cameo in there if you look really hard.
Or not hard at all. It's right there.
It is true. And I want to remind everybody that we are bringing this show on the road.
I'm so pumped.
I am so pumped, too. It's right around the corner. Fueled by Deathcast live at this year's New York City Podcast Festival. And we have a guest announcement.
And he's an awesome dude.
Yeah, very funny comedian by the name of Kevin Bartini. He used to warm up the crowds for The Daily Show, The Colbert Report, The Nightly Show, and he's been working the comedy circuit for a lot of years now. He is really, really funny. We're going to have an amazing conversation
He's
with
also
him.
got an awesome podcast called The Movie Preview Review, where they listen to movie previews and review the movies off those previews. Wow, I said that.
You did, and it's really funny. So you can go check out his podcast on iTunes or any of those, and also check out Kevin Bartini on Facebook and Twitter, and go give him a follow. And we'll be bringing him live April 9th. Tickets are on sale now. New York City, NYCPodfest.com.
Secret code unlocked. Discount of death.
And this week, if you want to get our awesome discount in place, all you have to type in is GOMATT, GOMATT, and that is because we are rooting for Matt Secor, who is fighting this Saturday in New York, his first professional fight in New York, because if you don't know, it was illegal for a while, and now it is illegal, and he's going to kick some butt, and I'm totally excited for this.
He's going to be one of the cards in the World Series of Fighting at Turning Stone Casino on March 18th. And so in celebration of, rooting for him, type in GOMATT, GOMATT, all one word, and you'll get an awesome discount on all Death Wish coffee this week.
Yeah, good discount. So don't miss this one. This one's a good one.
Science!
I'm ready, Jeff.
Okay.
I'm open for data.
Okay. We're going back to space.
Oh!
Yes.
It's so cold out there.
Yeah, well, it's funny you say that, actually, because NASA is about to launch the coldest place on Earth, the Cold Atom Laboratory, or the
What are
CAL.
they using, my ex-girlfriend's heart? Yuck, yuck, yuck. Sorry.
They're going to launch this into orbit.
No, really, how are they making it cold?
I'll get there.
Oh, sorry.
But astronauts are going to use this to create never-before-seen conditions with temperatures 100 million times colder than the depths of space. Let that wrap into your brain for a minute.
What are they using?
Well, picture about an ice chest size box, and it's going to be equipped with lasers, because lasers are awesome, a vacuum chamber, and an electromagnetic knife that's going to slow particles to an almost motionless state. Now, it's going to hitch a ride on the SpaceX rocket up to the International Space Station, and it's going to reveal how atoms, when they're cooled to a mere billionth of a degree above absolute zero, how they actually react.
That's crazy.
And we can't study this on Earth because of gravity. So to be able to do this in a microgravity environment like the International Space Station, we'll be able to study it. We can study it on Earth for mere milliseconds.
Yeah.
We'll be able to look at this for minutes.
Yeah.
On the space station. Robert Thompson, who is the project scientist on this, said studying these hypercold atoms could reshape our understanding of matter and the fundamental nature of gravity, which is pretty exciting when you really think about it.
So they're using lasers and magnet knives and
yes,
that's crazy.
Yes. So what this is going to do is
it's going to change gravity?
Well, it's going to change matter. what it's going to do is we're going to be able to observe atoms in what is called a Bose-Einstein condensate, which if you've heard me use this term, which I have before on this podcast, called a superfluid. And what that means is the atoms morph into these mysterious waveforms that actually work like a liquid and a solid. So there's no friction. And the way that he explains it is if that you were to have a glass of superfluid water and you spun it with your hand, it would spin forever into the end of time.
Whoa.
Right, because there's no friction and no nothing.
Right.
So what's really interesting about this is that this is going to give us more clues towards quantum theory. Now, Einstein did a lot with the theory of relativity, which is what we know how objects work on Earth. Okay, quantum theory deals with how objects work without gravity, without the tethers of what weigh things down on Earth, not just gravity, but friction and that kind of thing. So this is going to give us a lot more of an idea of how the quantum field theory works. And what's even more exciting about that is the first step to unlocking the very coveted theory of everything. Now, you might have heard big scientists like Michio Kaku or Neil deGrasse Tyson talk about the theory of everything, and what that really, in the most basic terms, means that if we can understand how things work in relativity, the theory of relativity, but we can also understand how things work in the quantum realm, and then actually put those two things together, then we know how everything works in the universe.
Whoa.
It's like the mathematical equation that explains everything.
Whoa. I'm so freaked out right now.
But
we're going to send this ice chest, this mega awesome ice chest out into space. And so why are we doing it out in space?
Because there's a microgravity up there, so therefore there is way less friction, and the gravity's not weighing these atoms down. So the atoms at this cold state can actually react the way we want them to. And I misspoke earlier. I was saying that we could do this for minutes in space. It's still not even minutes. On Earth, we've been able to create this kind of thing with this cold atom laboratory for a millisecond, a hundredth of a millisecond, like that, and it's gone. So we can't even observe it really.
Yeah.
In space, we'll be able to observe it for up to 10 seconds.
So they were trying it here, and they're like,
Yeah.
"Nah, we
Can't
need
do it.
a rocket. We need to shoot it out into space."
Well, we're gonna shoot it out into space on the SpaceX rocket, but it's gonna go to the ISS, and the astronauts in the International Space Station will be performing these experiments.
Wow.
Yeah. It's pretty exciting. And not only that, this is the first time this cold atom laboratory will be used to its full potential. So we're not even sure what kind of data we're going to get from it.
Yeah.
We're just really excited that we're going to start to get some quantum theory data that we've never experienced before.
Do they have, like, besides the mega awesome super theory of everything, do they expect any other results? Like,
well, we just by knowing how superfluidity works and those types of things, sure. If we can figure out how matter can work in a state like that, maybe we can create it with gravity, with friction, those
Yeah.
types of things. Maybe we can overcome those. We can work backwards from the equation that we find. You understand? Like,
Yeah.
So there is a lot of cool stuff. Just to end that, the manager went on to say, like a new lens in Galileo's first telescope, the ultra-sensitive cold atoms in the cold atom lab have the potential to unlock many mysteries beyond the frontiers of known physics.
that's awesome.
And this will all go down in August when they strap it to the rocket and send it out into the International Space Station.
That's so awesome.
So cool.
I'm so excited to hear what comes of this.
Yeah, we'll talk more about this in August after it happens.
Yes.
What fuels you?
So this week, we got to talk to an incredible guy, amazing fighter, Matthew Secor. And one thing that interview really kind of struck home with me was the idea of accountability, but a more not as broad of a sense of accountability.
Yeah. And, I thought a lot about when he was talking that, like, accountability is more than just being responsible for what you have in front of you.
Right.
It's about going above and beyond. If no one is accountable, make yourself accountable.
Right.
Be there. That's accountability is almost opportunity.
Right.
In that sense. And if you can make yourself accountable, that is progression. That is progression through life.
And that's how you get your goal. That's
Yeah.
how you get to that finish line, or at least past that next marker. And, and like you said, like go above and beyond. It's something that can happen in your job, in your hobby, in your life, where constantly you're going to hit a wall. You're going to stumble, you're going to fall, you're going to fail at something. And everybody's first instinct is to blame something else, make an excuse. But if you think of that excuse beforehand and then make yourself accountable for that excuse, then it's not going to be there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If you go above and beyond to make sure that all your I's are dotted and your T's are crossed by the time that, that's supposed to, whatever you're doing is supposed to be there, then, that goal is that much more achievable.
Yeah.
And everything that needs to be held accountable for is on your shoulders.
Yeah. And if, you have that instance where you will fail. It's the truth in life.
Totally.
And that just gives you even more opportunity to figure out how you can be better accountable in the future. And a part of that is in that instance when you fail is to man up not only to yourself but to the people around you. Just like, that's just the way it goes. I will learn and I will move forward because I am an accountable person. Yeah. And that's what that means.
Accountability is something that is lost a lot in today's society because everyone is too quick to blame something or someone else, for even the smallest failures. And if we all hold ourselves at a much higher accountability rate, then the amount we can achieve is just astronomical.
If we were all doing that as a society, we would be unstoppable. No matter what it was.
Totally. It's that time again this week, our new favorite segment, the community shout-out. And this week, like I've said every single week, we see you out there. We see you, sharing the podcast, listening to the podcast, telling your friends about the podcast and the company as well.
Entering our contest, too.
Yeah, entering our contest, too. And this one is going to go out, speaking of contest, to our very first contest winner.
Yeah, we are shouting out Sean Branson.
Yeah.
You are the man, and you are from the other side of the world.
Yeah, New Zealand, man. I want to come visit you sometime.
Yeah, that is so cool. So, we're definitely giving a big shout out to you, man.
We see you, posting about the podcast, enjoying the podcast. You are also a avid Black Label Society member from The Godfather, Zach Wilde, as well. So, thank you for all you do, and the shout out goes to you, man. I'd love to hear some more coffee wisdom from you, D-Man.
Okay, this is something pretty simple, but I feel like it can be missed. And it's actually, for me, it highly benefits my making of Death Proof coffee. Because with Death Proof coffee, you're making a hot cup of coffee in a cold mug, and then you're putting that in a cold blender, and then you're blending it up, and it's airing out. And by the time you get your Death Proof coffee, it's cooling down, and the butter's rising to the top. And
right.
You don't want that. So what I do is something called charging the cup, or charging your mug. And it's just a simple process of just taking a little bit of that boiling water that you just made for your coffee, or just hot water from your tap, if you don't have that available, and just warming up your mug so you're not pouring your delicious hot coffee into a cold-ass mug.
I think that's a great piece of advice for anything, because there's many times in the morning when I made a cup of coffee and forgotten, in my French press for a minute or two, and I go to just put it in a mug, and it instantly cools down because it's cold in my apartment or whatever.
And you think of Deneen pottery mugs. I mean, those mugs are thick, and they will hold a lot of coldness.
Yeah, heat or coldness. Yeah, exactly.
And heat, and if you get that thing hot ahead of time, you will have a delicious hot cup of Death Wish coffee for a more extended period of time.
So, pro tip, all you coffee drinkers out there: charge your mug.
There it is.
The Death Wish Death List.
This week, we lost an American writer, Robert James Waller. He was 77 years old. You probably know him best for writing his incredibly smash hit bestseller, Bridges of Madison County. It was actually topped the bestseller charts in 1993. And if you never read the book, you might have seen the award-winning movie that was directed, produced, and starring Clint Eastwood and also Meryl Streep. That wasn't his only bestseller, though. Several of his books, both fiction and nonfiction, were near the top of a lot of bestseller lists, along with another book called Puerto Vallarta Squeeze, which was also turned into a movie, and it starred Harvey Keitel, and it actually featured Jonathan Brandis's last role before his tragic death in 2003.
Well, rest in peace, my dude. And I gotta say, the one thing that I like about the death list lately, it's been a little bit short. So I feel like
knock on everything.
Jeez, knock on wood. Sorry, guys, but I feel like it's been a while since we lost like a huge figure.
So
who do you think's next, Jeff?
Yeah,
no, I'm just kidding. Don't answer that.
Pool.
No, we're not going there.
But a death wish you a happy birthday if you're listening to this when this comes out on Thursday, March 16th. Happy birthday to Alan Tudyk. He's going to be 46. You might know him from a little show called Firefly.
I love that guy.
Or Tucker and Dale vs. Evil.
That was such a good movie.
Or he was just featured as the voice of the droid K2SO in the recent Star Wars Rogue One.
That must have been awesome for him.
Yeah.
And you can't forget A Knight's Tale.
And A Knight's Tale, yes. He's had quite the career. Friday, March 17th, happy birthday to Kurt Russell. He's going to be 66, famous for Escape from L.A., Escape from New York. He's going to be in the brand new Guardians of the Galaxy as Chris Pratt's character Star-Lord, his father.
I'm surprised he's not actually Chris Pratt's father.
Yeah, right?
I think that's a good match.
Yeah. Saturday, March 18th, Adam Levine is going to be 38. I don't know if any of you following Death Wish Coffee out there saw. He actually, him and his band Maroon 5 just played upstate New York, Albany, and he made a special trip to come to the mothership into Saratoga Coffee Traders and get some Death Wish coffee with his band.
I heard he made a few trips for some refills.
2 days in a row he came down. I thought that was really cool.
So who knows? You might actually see some more stuff between Adam Levine and Death Wish.
I hope so.
That'd be awesome, right?
And finally on Wednesday, March 22nd, Captain James T. Kirk. William Shatner is going to be 86 years old. He is still going strong, still going to all sorts of conventions all the time, always has amazing stories to tell about his time with the Star Trek franchise.
He seems like a pretty mellow guy.
Yeah.
I bet he's got a long, healthy life ahead of him.
Yeah, I think so too. And we're going to take a short break right now and give you this week's D-Man update.
D-Man's Death Wish Update. Brought to you by Death Wish Coffee.
All right, what do we got this week, D-Man?
Oh, man, I'm so excited. We're leaving for Albuquerque in like a week. I can't believe it.
Yeah, I'm a little jealous, but I know you're going to be there with some of the other crew representing us all at the Coffee and Chocolate Festival. I mean, yum.
I was a little bit jealous. I missed out last year, so I fought hard to go to this. Never been to Albuquerque. Super psyched about that. And I've never been to the Coffee and Chocolate Festival, which sounds huge. It sounds like it was quite an event last year.
Yeah, so that'll be a lot of fun. A lot of cool coffee and chocolate people there, and Death Wish Coffee rolling deep with all of our awesome stuff.
And we will have both coffee and coffee chocolate.
Yes, that'll be great. I want to remind everybody, we talked about this a little bit last week. You can go on over to deathwishcoffee.com and you can still enter for a chance to win an all expenses paid trip to Las Vegas. That's airfare, hotel, VIP access to Poker Central's event this year. Plus, you get a year's worth of Death Wish coffee.
And there's no purchase necessary.
No
on that, right?
purchase necessary.
That's pretty cool.
All you got to do is enter your email address right on deathwishcoffee.com. So that is a pretty cool thing.
Yeah, psyched about that.
And I'm going to ask again. Come on, is there anything I can squeeze out of you, D-Man?
No.
Aw, really? I'm hearing a collected, come on, D-Man, from all our listeners.
Okay.
Oh, boy.
So,
what do we got? What's coming up?
This was just ordered, and we're still finalizing some details. But
okay.
We're really excited to bring out a new Stanley thermos this year.
Awesome.
Yeah. And this will be black. This will be a beautiful black bullet of awesomeness.
Awesome. That's great.
It keeps coffee hot for 5 billion years.
It really does. I got to say, my wife and I just got a brand new French press, but it's one of the bigger ones. It holds, I think, like 16 cups or something like that.
Yeah.
So we do it in the morning, and then we immediately transfer the rest of the coffee into our Stanley thermos, and then we have coffee for the rest of the morning.
That's smart.
And it's the best.
That's the way to do it. I can't do that. I have no control. If there is coffee there, I will drink it.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, why am I so anxious? I can't calm down.
So that's excellent. A brand new Stanley thermos on the horizon. Obviously, that's a little bit down the road because we just put in orders for those, but you guys got to hear it first.
Yeah, actually, here, I'm going to look this up real quick. I'm gonna give the ounces, I think.
Ooh, wow, we're getting some really good information. I just love that it's a little bit different. It's going to be black. It'll still be branded with the Death Wish logo, the industrial logo on it. But it's going to be exciting to have another one.
Yeah, this it might not have the industrial logo.
Ooh, a different logo. Maybe.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I think because the last Stanley, we have to get them laser etched, so it's whatever capability of that will be. This will be a master 25-ounce bottle.
Nice. There it is. There, you guys just got some choice information.
I think I just gave too much information away.
It's okay.
Edit that out, Jeff.
It's okay. It'll all be safe with all of us here, man.
Don't tell anybody.
Yes, and tune in next week for some more awesome Death Wish Coffee news.
Cheers.
We now return to Fueled by Deathcast.
So this week we had the honor to talk to a really cool guy and one of your friends.
Yeah, and I gotta say, I've known Matt for a decent amount of time. I think like about 5 years now.
Mm-hmm.
And when I met him to the man he is now is just leagues grown.
Yeah.
He was kind of a jerk. I'll be honest, and he still is, but he's a jerk in an awesome.
He's an awesome jerk.
Grown man way.
Matthew Secor is an incredible fighter, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Actually studied under the same guy that you do, Eddie Fivey, who, if you go all the way back to the first episode of this podcast, that was our first ever guest.
Yep.
Was Eddie Fivey, and we talk about him a little bit. We talk about his fighting and what his outlook on life. This is a great conversation.
Yeah, man, he's a hilarious guy. He says some pretty outrageous stuff. I think he kept it tame for us, thankfully.
So here's our awesome interview with Matt Secor.
Enjoy.
The Fueled by Death guest.
How's your new school going?
Good. We have about 50 something students already in 3 months that we've opened. So, really good.
Cool, man.
Really, really good.
And that's in Glens Falls?
Yep, Glens Falls, New York.
Yeah, my girlfriend says she sees you every day.
Every day. Yep.
That's funny.
I awkwardly wave to her every day.
That's awesome. Yeah, she said you give her some weird stares sometimes.
Yeah, I'm like.
How different is it for you to go from someone who was a student, obviously, and now being a teacher? Was it a learning curve doing that?
No, not really. I've been teaching jiu-jitsu for a while, so it was just a lifestyle change. Mm-hmm. I feel like for me it was for the last 10 years I've been taken from the sport. Like, hey, what techniques do you have? Or hey, come help me train. Or, hey, let's drill. To now it's time to give back.
That's awesome.
Trying to find a balance.
Yeah, it's just you got to give back. I'm not there just to charge people. I'm there to change them too.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I want to help people's lives the way jiu-jitsu helped mine.
That's cool, man.
Yeah.
I feel like in my experience with teaching, I've always learned more than I ever could. Don't mind the ping pong balls. But when I was snowboarding, I was an okay snowboarder. But once I started teaching, I became a great snowboarder. And I think it was because you just kind of rethink everything that you learned in the first place, but you get to kind of like break it down. Do you feel that same way?
Yeah, it's basics. You're just teaching the theory of it all, so you get the concepts down, why you're doing everything. I think that's the biggest thing for me is like, why am I moving into this move, or how can I be more functional in this move? Why does my body move this way, not that way?
Yeah, like a little bit more mindfulness.
That's it. It's just perspective, I guess.
Yeah.
They say perspectives are reality, so.
Yeah, that's cool, man. Can you talk about your now you're mostly jiu-jitsu. Can you talk about your jiu-jitsu lineage at all?
So we come from, if you want to go break it down to like where it all came down.
Let's go way back. This will be fun.
So way back it comes from Gracie Baja. So Gracie Baja was formed, I think, by Holes Gracie if I'm correct. And then that's where Hickson came from, all those guys, and then Gracie Baja was where Henzo came from.
Yeah.
Henzo moved to New York City and opened up Henzo Gracie Academy.
Yeah.
And then
Right
one of
in
his
Manhattan.
pupils was Ricardo Almeida.
Yeah.
So we got lucky enough to have Chad Beatty, which trained under Ricardo Almeida, which I think Ricardo was one of Henzo's first black belts. I'm not sure.
That's what I thought.
I think he might be his first black belt. I'm not sure, but I know Chad's Ricardo's first black belt. One of Ricardo's.
I didn't know
first
that.
black
That's
belt.
cool. Very cool.
So we got Chad, and then we have Eddie Fivey.
Yep.
And then
Who, if listeners know, we had Eddie Fivey in as our first podcast.
Episode number 1.
Eddie's a genius when it comes to game planning and all that stuff. He's a guy I go, hey, what do you think about this dude?
That's cool.
You
Well,
know?
speaking on game planning a little bit, and a little bit back to like what I've learned from Hickson, he talks a lot about always moving one step forward, just one step forward, and never letting somebody move you back at all. And I saw that brilliantly displayed by you on the Jeremy Holloway fight. Do you remember that fight at all?
I do. I actually thought I actually had an adrenaline dump in that fight. I thought I fought like crap.
Really?
Oh man, it was so bad. I was like, I won, and I just go to my corner. I'm like, I'm so sorry. And they're like, what are you talking about? I'm like, I looked like shit. I'm like, I'm so
Really?
sorry. They're like, no, you got to watch the fight. So I watched the fight, and I was like, oh my God, I looked actually good.
Yeah.
But it was my perspective in it. I just had a different perspective. But I felt great. You know, I just, this game's about the mentality.
Yeah.
It's about believing in yourself, you know?
I just feel like you got him down and you just passed his guard. It was just like one step forward, one step forward. Were you thinking that at all?
I just think jujitsu. When
Yeah.
I go in there, I say, hey, okay, what do we got to do? Let's progress into the positions and react on what the other person's doing. You can't really go in there with a game plan like 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't work like that. Because it goes 1, 4, 3, 2,
Right.
Yeah.
1,
Yeah,
1, 1,
it just
1.
seemed like you knew what was going to happen before it happened. It looked really good.
Well, body movement's easy to see. The body only moves a certain way. You know, the anatomy and physiology of the body is it only moves a certain way.
Yeah.
So when you can understand body movement, then you can understand where people are going to move.
Yeah.
So I think that's what made my jiu-jitsu so good as it is I started studying more of the body.
Yeah.
And I started being able to control my own body that way. So they say if you can't control your own body, how do you think you're going to control someone else's?
It's almost like a Sun Tzu's Art of War, like know yourself. Yeah. That's cool, man. Speaking on game plans a little bit, do you have one for Nurmagomedov?
I'm going to punch him harder in the face than he punches me.
That
I'm
is
gonna
a
punch
great
him.
plan.
I'm going to punch him faster. I'm going to take him down more, and I'm going to submit him. The game plan is just to go in there and react, kick him, punch him, see what happens, see where he wants to bring it. If he wants to make it a grappling match, let's grapple.
Have you fought him before?
I have not. No.
Do you know much about him, like his background at all?
He's Russian.
He's probably a heavy wrestler guy.
He's a good wrestler. Stand-up's okay, but he likes to wrestle and stay on top. So
That'll be perfect for you, man.
he gives me his leg, it's getting ripped off.
Yeah.
So he gives me anything, it's getting ripped off. I have a mentality of when I get something in a fight, I take it home with me. Ricardo Funch can actually pertain to that. My last fight, he is one tough dude. And
Did you break both his legs?
I broke his one leg and tore his knee. I mean, like
He didn't even react either.
5 times.
Yeah.
5 times. His knee's going. I'm like, whatever, dude. It's your knee. And then when I kicked him in the first round, I kicked him with a body kick. I broke his ribs too.
Oh man.
So
Dude got punished.
Yeah, dude. I don't know. Unfortunately, tough in this sport gets you hurt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, that probably put him out for a while too.
Yeah, for a while. I think he was on bed rest for like a month.
And he's a cop, isn't he? A Brazilian cop?
Springfield, Massachusetts. He's a cop.
Oh, no shit.
Wow.
Damn. I wonder if you get disability for that at all.
I don't know. So when you're coming up on this fight this week, what is prep like that for a fight like this? Like, do you just focus on your side of the fight, or do you do a lot of research on the guy that you're going to fight, like someone that you've never seen before?
I just drink Death Wish coffee.
I love you, man.
Wing it.
I freaking love you.
I just fucking wing it. I get all fucking I get pumped up on Death Wish coffee and say, fuck it, let's do it. No, for fight week, I try not to think it too much about the other guy.
Right.
I can't control what he can do.
Exactly.
So I just go in there and game plan. My coaches watch a lot of tape, and we game plan and train. And then the last fight week is just staying safe and staying uninjured and keep getting my weight down and making weight. Making weight's the first fight. If you miss weight in a fight, one, you're an asshole, and two, you're very unprofessional.
It's disrespectful.
It's just, you don't miss weight.
Yeah.
Right.
It's just one thing you don't do. Someone was saying, I think it was Joe Rogan, said something like you should get suspended for a year if you miss weight. I think that's a fucking phenomenal idea.
I do too, because then no one would ever miss weight. Then make the crime punishable.
Accountability.
Yeah, accountability.
People are like, oh, well, what happens with guys? The guy I'm fighting is Khabib's brother.
I was wondering if they were related.
Yep, it's his brother. Well, it's his cousin's brother.
Village
mate, whatever the fuck they all freaking say they're related.
And for the listeners, Khabib Nurmagomedov fights in the UFC. He's #1 contender.
He's supposed to fight 2 weeks ago for the.
That dude always gets injured.
Well, he missed weight.
Oh, that's right. He made weight, but had to go to the hospital because he cut so much weight.
He missed. He never even made weight.
Oh, really?
His kidneys shut down or something.
Oh,
But
my
what they do is they just train.
Yeah.
And then like a week and a half before the fight, they're like, oh, let's see what I weigh. And he probably weighed like 175 pounds.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, they got 20 pounds. They got 10 days to cut
20 pounds.
Yeah.
to cut 20 pounds.
Oh man.
So what? You have to have a nutritionist. You have to have a nutrition plan.
Yeah.
I'm on actually a really good one right now, and my weight's I'm in the 70s, and
And you're fighting at 170, right?
171. I got to make.
Okay, cool.
So I'm like 178 right now.
Nice.
Probably even better, less than that after drinking this
with
Death
coffee.
Wish coffee.
Yeah.
Natural diuretic.
Yeah. That's cool, man. So you're fighting at 170. You got to make 171. You don't have that much weight to cut. That's awesome. How do you feel about the whole weight cutting scene? Because it's obviously been a very controversial thing where, for those who don't know, like rehydrating is very difficult afterwards, especially I think they say it takes 72 hours to rehydrate the blood-brain barrier, which is the thing you need hydrated most the day before a fight.
Yeah.
And the idea that these people are going out having the biggest fight of their lives right after the worst day of their lives, it seems ridiculous.
Comes down to me, don't be an idiot.
Yeah.
Prepare. It's just like if you want a good jab, you're gonna go do a jab 10,000 times.
Right.
Yeah.
Get a freaking nutritionist.
Right.
Get your weight down.
Yeah.
You've had this fight booked for how long now? Like,
Yeah.
it's
Well,
not
I've had
like,
4 weeks for me, but it's
still. You've had it. The machine was been working to that point, so you're getting yourself prepared. It's not like they call you up the week of and say,
it's obviously, and it's not like these guys are on their first fight.
Yeah.
right.
This is their like 30th fight. Like, come on, man, be professional. Just make weight.
Yeah.
It's like if you guys had coffee and then someone said, hey, I want to buy coffee. Like, we don't
out.
have any made right now.
That hasn't happened in a while.
Well, yeah, you know what I mean? Hey, can I get 2 pounds of coffee? You're like, we got like a half a pound.
Yeah.
You're going to have to wait a week. It's just, it's very unprofessional.
Yeah.
It's,
You think there's an answer to like maybe a rule we can put in place to maybe curb some of the...
yeah, you miss weight, you get suspended for a year.
You like that then?
Yeah, accountability. It's just like in everything in life. Accountability. You do something, you touch a hot stove, what happens?
You get burned.
You get freaking burned.
Yeah.
You go, ow, that hurts. Now, what happens nowadays is there's no accountability.
Yeah.
No one that's my students have all accountability. Listen, if you get hurt in training, it's your fault.
Yeah.
That simple. There's only a few scenarios where it's not going to be your fault.
Yeah.
Right.
One, someone falls on you.
Yeah.
Right.
Another one, someone at a higher rank that can do damage and they hold a submission longer than they should.
That sounds like they should have tapped.
Yeah,
Sounds like it should be on you at that point.
Or if you tap or if you don't tap, right?
Yeah.
So it's there's only a select few things. So if you get hurt, it's your fault.
Yeah.
If you get it's just like anything. If you don't come to training, it's your fault. You're not getting better.
Yeah.
It's accountability, but no one wants to hear the unspoken truths in life.
Yeah.
No one wants to hear why they lost the fight. You know why I lost? My last loss was against Chris Honeycutt. I lost because I mentally wasn't fighting in there.
I want to bring something up because the Michael Hill loss on The Ultimate Fighter it's been touted as the worst decision in MMA history. I mean, how do you count that? You know, how do you move from that? How do you take that? How do you build from that?
Michael Hill, nipple tattooed Michael Hill. I literally have tried to fight him so many times.
Yeah, I bet he's been ducking you pretty hard.
Oh man, that little pretty boy from Canada. I would slap the taste out of his mouth. I would literally fight him in a parking lot at any time's notice, and I'm sure he wouldn't have a shirt on. What happened in that fight was I came out, I threw one punch, broke my hand. I don't got a knuckle anymore.
Oh wow, look at that.
It's supposed to look like that, but no more knuckle.
Jeez.
And yeah, dude, broke my hand, and I'm like, the first round was kind of lackluster because I broke my hand.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, I go back to my corner, and the coach was Lisa, the wrestling coach. She's like, fucking beat him with it. So I said, okay. So I went out and I took him down for 2 rounds, took his back, everything, and that somehow they gave him the fight.
Yeah, because it went to the overtime round.
Yep.
And in that round, you were on his back for 4 out of the 5 minutes.
One of the judges was like a 65-year-old lady. I'm sure she knew a whole bunch about MMA.
Yeah.
But again, accountability. I couldn't finish the fight. If I finished the fight, I would have never had to.
So you take responsibility for that.
100%. It's my fault. Listen, I don't. When I fight at 100. I fight 110% mentally when I get in there.
Yep.
I will die in there. But it's my fault if I don't win a fight. I can't, and that's what happens in life, right? We always say, hey, you want to know what? Well, I didn't get this because of this person, or I didn't get any sleep last night. Well, listen, I got a 16-month-old kid. I'm in fight camp with a part-time job and a full academy, and it's my choice to keep myself accountable. I have to keep myself accountable. You want to know what? I didn't get a lot of sleep last night because my kid was up. Well, guess what? Don't have a kid if you don't want to do that.
Yeah.
Well, having a kid's the best thing I ever did in my life.
Yeah.
So I will wake up anytime so my wife can sleep.
Yeah.
You know, because my wife takes care of my kid. She's the one that takes care of everything else. But I'm accountable for that. Well, guess what? Suck it up.
Yeah. I always think about it like, I mean, if you fail, there will always be an excuse there. But the person who would succeed would probably have that same excuse available, except for they didn't use it because they succeeded.
Yeah.
You only need one excuse. You come up with 150 excuses why something went wrong. You only need one to fix it and change it. Now, my philosophy on that is it's very good to be good. It's very easy to be good.
Yeah.
Very easy to be good at something you do. It's very hard to be great.
Yeah.
Now, I want to be great. I want people to be like, hey, I want to be like him. I want to help people out in life, you know? I joke around a lot, and I have a really funny personality, and sometimes people don't take me very seriously.
Yeah.
But I've done a lot of things in my life where I've been told no. My support shirt. Listen, my sister's a doctor.
Yeah.
Could you imagine
Yeah.
when I told my parents, hey, I'm going to be a professional fighter? They looked at me like I had 5 heads.
Yeah.
And no, you can't do that. No, this and that and this. I said, well, guess what? I made a choice in my life that I was going to do something that I loved for a living.
That's sick, man.
And if that meant that I had to sacrifice a lot of stuff, then that's what it meant. And I can truly say that every day that I wake up, I do not have any regret.
That's awesome.
I never wanted to be the uncle. You ever have that uncle that the woulda, coulda, shoulda uncle?
Right.
You
Yeah.
know, oh, I coulda, woulda, shoulda, did
Yeah.
that. Or they won the Section 2 wrestling championships 35 years ago, and they're the toughest person in the world.
Al Bundy.
Al Bundy.
Yeah, he scored the last touchdown.
Yes, he
right?
sure did.
That's my worst fear. Now, there's a quote that I live by. Every time I have any self-doubt or anything like that, or if I'm tired or anything, and the quote is, what's the real definition of hell? And it's dying and meeting the person you could have been.
Oh, man.
So, that hits really, really at home with me, because there's a lot of times in life where I didn't live up to my potential.
Yeah.
I said, hey, you want to know what? I was tired. Oh, you want to know what? my girlfriend, we got into a fight, you know, and actually she's my wife now, and we don't get into fights because she always wins all of them. So I just say yes. But, you know, it comes down to accountability.
Yeah.
You know, are you accountable for it? You know, do you want to be great? Do you want to, everything that you have, your goals, do you want to achieve those goals?
Yeah.
It's all up to you. It's not up to someone else. You can always, you know, and that's what's wrong with this world now. There's no accountability.
Yeah.
There's no kid gets spanked. Listen, I'll spank my kid in front of anyone. If my kid is a bad kid.
That's how I grew up, man.
Listen.
Not saying that I'm like the role model for the world or anything, but I'll tell you what, if I stepped out of line, my mom put it to me. And I learned real quick.
Dude, even if you didn't step out of line, you were like, dude, I would get my ass kicked.
Yeah.
I thought about it like this because I was a bad kid.
Yeah.
If I get caught, I'm going to get my ass kicked. I still did it. I just tried not to get caught, right? You know, but that's, you know, what can you do?
Yeah.
You know, my kid's going to be accountable. And my sister yelled at me the other day. She was home, and my kid likes to eat an apple.
Yeah.
But when he's done, he'll eat it and then just start strategically placing pieces of the apple around the house.
I remember doing that. That's one of my earliest memories.
I'm like, Ian, if you do that again, I'm going to throw your apple. He's only a year old. I go, well, guess what? Accountability.
Yeah.
It's my kid. So guess what? His apple got thrown away. And he didn't do it anymore.
There you go.
Yeah, there you go. So we've asked this question a lot of like rock stars and survivalists, but I feel like with a fighter, this question means a lot because it gets tough being a fighter. You deal with a lot of shit, and you know, whether it be the time that you have to put in or the injuries that you deal with, or you're in the middle of a fight and it doesn't go the way you want it to. So like when shit gets really tough, what keeps you going? What fuels you?
Well, so back to one more quote, right?
Yeah, I like it.
They say adversity makes soldiers into kings.
All right.
Right? So adversity comes in your life. And perspective is our reality. So it's all on high. If I go into a fight, I know if I go into a fight, one, if I lose, my family's still going to love me.
Yep.
The sun's still going to come up.
Yep.
And I just look at it in perspective of if I gave it everything that I had, it doesn't matter. Mm-hmm. You know, obviously I want to win. Obviously I'm training to win.
Right.
You know, I actually don't train to win. I train to get better every day. I just want to be the best version of myself.
Yeah.
Now, some of the best things happen in life through adversity.
Yeah.
You know, but sometimes in people's lives, adversity makes them stop. They hit that wall. They say, oh, it's too hard.
Yep.
I can't do it no more.
Yep.
That's where you strive and break through.
Yeah.
But failure is going to happen. You know, why do we fall? They say, Batman said it, right?
Yep.
Why do we fall? We learn so we can learn how to get back up.
Yep.
That's just part of it. I love to compete.
Yeah.
And the reason why I like to compete is because I want to see if what I have is just as good as everyone else's or better.
That's awesome.
Correcting your perspective.
That's it, right?
Yeah.
Or saying, hey, I should probably do this. You
Yeah.
know? Dude, and don't get me wrong. When I lose sleep over it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ask my wife.
Yeah.
I'm just like, oh, dude. I remember when I got TKO'd one time. I wasn't even out. I got my guard back from Lyman Good, and I thought I got stopped early, but again, accountability. I had to keep my hands up, and I got hit.
Yep. You're not going to learn anything if you don't have any accountability.
No.
Because if you were like, he shouldn't have stopped the fight, you wouldn't be thinking, I got to keep my hands up. Because what you should be thinking is, I got to keep my hands up.
Yeah.
It shouldn't have been there in the first place.
Well, I was winning the fight for 4.5 minutes.
Damn.
And, I was whooping his ass. And then all of a sudden, I'm like, oh, shit. I think I got hit. And I'm in my guard. And then they stopped the fight. And I rolled backwards and got up. And I'm like, fuck, is this over or was it the round? And I'm like, and Eddie came in and he's like, oh, dude, it's over. I'm like, fuck.
Yeah.
And I remember rewinding, watching me getting hit. Rewinding me watching. I said, that's never going to fucking happen ever again.
Yeah.
I said, I'm going to keep my fucking hands up. And I lose sleep over that.
Yeah.
I still do.
If it gives you any comfort, being a student of you and Eddie, and watching you guys go through I can watch you win, then it's just going to keep my perspective of how you guys are. That's cool. That's awesome. And that gives me pride. But when you guys lose, it brings a sense of reality to me where like, it's okay to lose.
Yeah.
Even the guys that I look up to, like they go through it too. They have to go through it. And if it gives you any comfort, I've learned a lot through your and Eddie's trials, even when it like, well, shit, he'll learn more, he'll get better. But it's like, it gives me a sense of like, I don't know, not righteousness, but
You can
like,
go with that.
Yeah, but relief. That's what it is. Because, going into competitions, like I gotta win or else I'll be totally embarrassed. But it's like, you don't have to be embarrassed. Everybody goes through that shit, man.
Listen, there's so many factors that can happen in a competition. So that you can't, so many uncontrollable factors that can happen. You could literally fucking trip on the way to the fucking cage.
Yeah.
And they'll be like, hey, dude, you can't fight. You cut yourself. It's happened before. People have hit and slammed their head and got knocked out, and like literally in the back.
Jeez.
And there's nothing you can do. You have to. My dad told me a couple things in competition when I was a young kid. He said, I was really. This is gonna sound messed up. I was really young, and I wrestled in 96 pounds for 96 pounds in 9th grade. I didn't hit my growth spurt till I was like 10th, going to 11th grade. So he said, "Listen, if you lose to a girl, you're not gonna wrestle." As messed up as that sounds. So I never lost to a girl, and I'm not sexist by any means. I think women should have whatever, but that's just one thing. And he said, if you're a poor loser, you'll never wrestle. You never compete.
Yeah.
And I remember that sticks on me, you get the people that lose and they're like, oh, this is this and that. After Mike Hill lost, I said, whoa. I shook his hand like a man.
Yep.
And they interviewed me and they said, well, I said, what can I do?
Yeah.
There's nothing I can do about the situation. How many times has something went wrong? Like, for example, like you get into a car accident and you get out of your car, you're like, what the fuck you did it. What are you going to do but make the situation worse?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's so you just say, you deal with it.
Yeah.
And you say, hey, and then you want to know what? I take care of that other stuff in my own time.
Yeah.
If I want to, be a little bitch about it, I'll do it in my mirror.
Yeah.
And say, hey, I feel sorry for myself. Now, I think we get that from my mother too. My father passed away in 2011, and this is also going to sound messed up, but my mother said, you have 1 month to feel sorry for yourself, to me and my sisters.
Wow.
And she put a timeline on our grief. And she said, because listen, you guys have stuff to do. We got life to handle.
Yeah.
And so we felt sorry for ourselves for a month, and then we moved on and just thought about the great times and had our dad motivate us. So unfortunately, the bad stuff's going to happen in your life.
Yeah.
People you love are going to die. It's the only thing that we know.
Yeah. It's the only constant.
Yep. So you get it. You feel sad. You do it. You deal with it, and then you move on. You become great, right? You keep working on being good.
Yeah.
Fueled by death, man.
Fueled by death.
That's it, dude. Fueled by Death Wish Coffee.
Yeah. So speaking back on this week, correct me if I'm wrong, this is the first time that you are having this big of a fight in New York, right?
First professional.
Professional New York fight?
First time ever fighting in New York.
That's exciting. Like, that's
Yep.
got to feel great.
Even as amateur, I didn't fight in New York.
Oh, really?
Oh, really?
Yep,
Oh.
because when I did it, there was no.
Oh, they found the loophole as you went pro.
Yep. And then we got all the cig smokers in there. All those-
Jeez, really?
I call them base JJers, basement jiu-jitsu guys. They don't train. I don't know, watch MMA.
Well,
so
that's really
talk a
exciting.
little bit about how exciting this is for you fighting in New York.
I'm pumped. We got about 400 people going.
Wow.
Yeah, we're pretty
Very
excited.
cool.
So we're pretty pumped about it.
So it's going to be on the World Series of Fighting that's NBC, right?
MSNBC. Yeah.
MSNBC. Cool, man.
And for people like me out there, what is the difference between the World Series of Fighting and like UFC?
So there's three main organizations.
Uh-huh.
You got WSOF.
Yep.
You got Bellator.
Okay.
And you got UFC.
Oh, okay.
They're on all the networks, the
Right.
3 networks. And then you have like the more regional promotional stuff.
Right. But
And
those
then some,
are the
like,
3 main ones.
international ones like Risen and ONE FC
Yep.
and stuff like that. But as far as like national fight corporations. It's UFC, it's Bellator, it's World Series of Fighting.
And for all of our listeners out there, I know that if you go to the worldseriesoffighting.com, which is WSOF.com, I believe, there are ways to free stream this as well. Through their app, they have streaming services, so hopefully we'll all be watching and rooting for you on Saturday.
I'm going to go in and just quit, so.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's cool, man. So that'll be at the Turning Stone Casino, right?
Yep, Turning Stone.
Cool,
yeah, we're
man.
pretty excited. It's only like an hour and a half away.
Yeah, that's really close to home, man. That's cool.
If you drive fast like me.
Yeah,
it's about an hour and a half
totally.
away.
So is there any shout-outs you want to give? Any you want to give our listeners any way to follow you for your progress in
For
fighting?
your school or anything?
Yeah, Matt Secor Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu on Facebook. Eddie Fivey Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu Academy. Rock out your lineage, right?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Gotta.
I want to thank Darren Rafferty. He's the head coach for this. For my fight camp, dude, this guy is a savage. He's a veteran. He's a Marine. I mean, his mentality alone, you just gotta say the Marine part, and and he's also has his master's degree in exercise science.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
he's
nice.
not only my strength conditioning coach, he's my head coach, my boxing coach. Sparring partners Ryan Munger, Matt Huntington. Matt Huntington is an amateur boxer. He has about 70 amateur fights.
Wow.
So yeah, he helped me out a lot. Kirill, will give him a shout out, even though he's Russian, so we don't want to respect him that much because we're fighting a Russian.
Let's be fair, he's American now.
Yeah. I guess he switched sides. But you never know. He could be
a spy.
Could be a splinter cell, right?
Yeah, right.
Or what do they call those? Sleeper cells.
Sleeper
Yeah,
cell,
there
yeah.
it is.
Yeah.
We're gonna see him in the other corner when we get there. That's so
Yeah,
good.
what the fuck? Well, I told him he can't talk in his devil tongue. He's in the academy with us. We don't know what he's trying to do.
Oh, that's funny. And a little bit, I wanted to talk about a little bit about this because we talked a little bit about it off podcast. But you work with a psychological fighting coach. What would you call him?
Oh, he's a sports psychologist.
Sports psychologist.
Yep.
And I've always been super interested in that because you see a lot of the top guys, you see them totally switch over from being like a timid whatever
Right.
fighter to being a world beater because of that one switch of a mental psycho. I've lost it again. What is he called?
Sports psychologist.
Sports psychologist. Can you talk a little bit about what you go through with this guy, how he walks you through this?
A lot of it's just preparing, right?
Yeah.
It's the same thing as like setting up a takedown.
Yeah.
You know, you have an entry, you have the technique, you have all this stuff, and it's the same thing. Visualization. You know, hey, we're in the back. How you feeling?
Yeah.
We're walking to the cage. Your song comes on. You walk out to the cage.
What's your song?
Bill Withers, Ain't No Sunshine.
Awesome.
So good, man.
That's awesome.
Yep, Bill Withers, Ain't No Sunshine. Somebody asked me, or the DMX phone? I said, no,
No.
not the DMX phone.
So he's walking you through it. You're walking out.
Just
your song's
visualization.
playing.
You know, you're getting emotional while he's talking about it.
Yeah.
You know, and then meditation, how to keep yourself calm when there's nerves around.
How do you keep yourself calm?
Distraction.
Yeah.
A lot of it's distraction, right? A lot of it's taking your mind off of the what's there and turning it on at the right point. Because if you run hot too long, you'll burn out.
Yeah.
So, you know, just it's a lot of actually simple stuff. It's just
Yeah.
knowing what to do. You know.
Yeah.
putting it
There's no like guy. Nobody told me how to relax when I'm worked up. You
Yeah.
know. That's
Yeah.
so cool.
Well, we do that at my academy a lot.
That's good.
Especially in the competition classes. You know, we walk through. There's another thing that I do. It's called the perfect match. I write down my perfect match. What happened? So, in the 3 rounds, you write down first round happens. You have adversity in it.
Mm-hmm.
I did that for that Chip Pollard fight where they stood me up in the mount.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, oh, someone asked me, how did you stay so calm and not flip out? I said, that was in my perfect match. They stood me up. I said, hey, guess what? I'll just take them right back down. Not that big of a deal. So it's all, like, again, perspective is our reality. You know, you can look at a situation 500 million different ways.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you just stay focused. Focus is a huge one. Because you can work without focus.
Yeah.
So focus is what we need.
Yeah. Would you call that mindfulness? Would you call that being in the present moment?
You got to.
Because I feel like, that's like it's so tough to do too
Yeah.
in competition, and everybody's watching.
I remember when I was fighting Jeremy Holloway, I'm sitting there dancing around. I'm like, I hear my sister. I'm like, oh, there's my sister yelling. I'm like, oh, wow. What's that smell? I'm like, dude, I'm fighting. Like, what am I doing? Like, I got to fight here. This guy's trying to kick and punch me really hard. And then I'm like, all right, focus.
Yeah.
So I focused, took him down, and got it done. But
Did you feel like it switch over when you decided that mentally?
yeah, I usually get the switch in the back. Usually when I put my gloves on, that's when I start making that switch and start getting. I can't think too much about it because I'll start getting pumped up.
Yeah. Yep.
But it's good. It's good to get that way. It's so fun, dude. It's so exciting. Nerves, people, they say nerves are like butterflies. You get butterflies or stuff.
Yep.
Like, as long as you can get them riding the right formation, nerves are good.
Yeah.
Nerves are a thing. Hey, they say you don't back a cat up into a corner
Yeah.
or
Right.
a lion or whatever.
Right.
A cat probably just kicked that thing.
I don't know. My cat's a jerk. So.
We don't condone kicking cats on the Fueled by
No,
Deathcast.
no, we don't. No, we don't kick cats.
That's
but if
awesome.
a lion, you back a
Yeah.
Right.
predatory animal into a corner, it's not going to be a good thing. They
No.
might be scared, but they're going to hurt you. So nerves are a good thing. They keep you aware. They keep you sharp.
How long have
Use
you been
them.
working with the sports psychologist?
2 years.
2 years. So it's
Yep.
been a long running thing.
See, the times I lose is when I get emotional.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
when I lose. So
What,
that
do you find yourself getting angry or
No,
or is
Chris
it-
Honeycutt, I got emotional. I said I shut off. Said I don't care.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That Eduardo Telles match, I
Yeah.
was legitimately trying to break his neck, trying to rip his head
Yeah.
off.
So that was anger.
Yep.
What
Yep.
set you off?
He just didn't do anything.
Ah.
I'm just like, dude, you're not even doing jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
I was trying to push him off the stage. If you watch part of the match at the EBI, I was just trying to.
That was he came. Well, I watched that from the outside. He came in with that game plan. He was just going to get people into overtime and just get the time, because the way EBI works is that it's a submission only grappling match. So it's a 10-minute match. If at the end of that 10-minute match you go into overtime and you trade positions as far as like if it's an armbar or back mount, and if he gets out of the submission, they stop it. But if nobody gets submitted by the end of those 3 rounds of overtime, it's whoever has the least amount of time spent in compromising positions wins. And
Gotcha.
that was this guy's game plan, was to come in, get it to overtime, and just stall out the whole way. To be fair, he was an older guy. He was like that old, wise.
started doing jiu-jitsu when I was like 2.
Yeah. Yeah.
Damn.
So that pissed you off, huh?
I just,
Pisses me off. And
Did
I
you
wasn't
know he
even
was
there.
coming in with that game plan?
I knew that's what his game plan was, but I just was like, dude, he literally sat there and did nothing.
Yeah.
And I was just like,
Anti-jiu-jitsu.
I'm just going to break his neck. It's
Yeah.
fine. I was going to be the first person to break someone's neck in a jiu-jitsu tournament.
Oh, jeez.
But it didn't work like that. If
And
you
you
watch,
got-
I put my knee on the back of his head.
Yeah.
Trying to crank his neck off.
Yeah, you were being gnarly. That was
Yeah.
awesome.
I was trying.
And he got you
In
in
an
a
arm
very
bar.
close arm bar. How close was that?
Well, what happened was his legs were covering my ears.
Yeah.
So they said, hey, are you ready? Are you ready? And I didn't say anything because I didn't know. So if you watch, my hands weren't even grasped. And he just said, go. And they went. And I'm like, oh, got to move.
Oh, shit.
And I do a lot of preparation where in tight submissions, what happens is people flex their arms.
Yeah, because they're trying to just pull back the other
Right?
way.
You ever try to cut a rubber band when you're not flexing it? What
Yeah.
happens to it? It goes in between the scissors.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh.
Right? So a tendon's like a rubber band.
Yeah.
So when you flex it, what happens when you stretch a rubber band and you cut it?
Yeah.
Snaps.
Snaps.
So you relax your arm, but you stay engaged and you stay connected and you just go.
I just learned something.
There
Yeah.
you go. It's
crazy.
I did too.
It's crazy. So watch it. Have one of your partners put you in an arm bar and relax your arm and see how much farther it takes him to submit you
Oh, shit.
than if you're actually flexing your
I
arm.
almost feel that goes with everything with fighting. If you come out really stiff and like really try to punch them, as soon as you get hit and you're stiff, you're going to get knocked out.
Yeah.
Whereas like if you're loose and roll with everything, it's usually the way to go in. It's usually the guy's totally relaxed. It's like, wow, he's in there battling to the death. And
Yeah.
he just looks like he's chilling on the beach. That's the way to do it, right?
Yeah.
That's it.
Awesome, man. Well, thanks for joining us on the Fueled by Deathcast, man.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me,
Oh
man.
yeah, man.
Yeah, and on future fights, feel free to come back on. We'll pump you back up and get you back out to our masses. And once again, for those who are listening, it's going to be on the World Series of Fighting on Saturday,
March 18th.
March 18th.
We'll all be rooting for you.
This has been Fueled by Deathcast, a Death Wish Coffee Company podcast production. Thanks for listening.